What if the key to true peace and happiness lies not in chasing future dreams or dwelling on past regrets, but in fully embracing the present moment? Eckhart Tolle's The Power of Now offers a transformative perspective. By anchoring ourselves in the present, we can free ourselves from the chains of worry, fear, and dissatisfaction. This is the story of how I learned to live in the now and discovered a life of clarity, joy, and serenity. For most of my life, I was caught in a cycle of overthinking. My mind constantly replayed past mistakes and imagined future scenarios. It felt like I was living everywhere but in the present. When I first encountered the power of now, Tolle's words struck me deeply. Realize deeply that the present moment is all you ever have. Make the now the primary focus of your life. I decided to experiment. One afternoon, instead of scrolling on my phone while waiting for a friend at a cafe, I focused on my surroundings. I noticed the hum of conversation, the aroma of freshly brewed coffee, and the sunlight streaming through the windows. For the first time in a long time, I felt truly present. That small moment of awareness opened a door to a new way of living. Tolle explains that much of our suffering comes from identifying with the ego, the voice in our head that constantly judges, compares, and seeks validation. I realized how often my ego dictated my thoughts and actions, keeping me trapped in a cycle of dissatisfaction. One evening, after a heated argument with a colleague, I caught myself replaying the conversation, imagining clever retorts I could have made. But then I remembered Tolle's advice: observe the ego without judgment. I took a deep breath and noticed the thoughts without attaching to them. Gradually, the mental noise quieted, and I felt a sense of calm. This practice of observing my ego helped me see how much energy I wasted on unnecessary drama. By disidentifying from the ego, I began to approach challenges with more clarity and less emotional reactivity. Time isn't precious at all, because it is an illusion, Tolle writes. What you perceive as precious is not time, but the one point that is out of time, the now. This idea was revolutionary to me. I had always viewed time as my most valuable resource, something to manage, save, and use wisely. But Tolle's perspective made me question my relationship with time. I began to notice how often my thoughts revolved around time, worrying about future deadlines or regretting missed opportunities. Instead of being present, I was stuck in a mental construct of past and future. Tolle's teachings encouraged me to let go of this fixation and anchor myself in the present. I started practicing this by focusing on my breath. Whenever I felt overwhelmed, I would pause and take 3 deep breaths, bringing my attention back to the now. This simple practice helped me find peace amidst the chaos and reminded me that life is happening in this very moment, not in the imagined past or future. Tolle emphasizes the importance of accepting the present moment, no matter what it holds. Resistance to what is, he explains, is a major source of suffering. These words resonated with me, especially during times of frustration or disappointment. One rainy morning, I found myself stuck in traffic, running late for an important meeting. My usual reaction would have been irritation and stress, but I decided to try something different. I remembered Tolle's advice: accept the moment as if you had chosen it. Instead of resisting the situation, I took a deep breath and accepted it. The traffic didn't magically disappear, but my frustration did. Acceptance didn't mean complacency. It meant acknowledging reality without unnecessary resistance. This shift in perspective allowed me to approach challenges with a sense of calm and focus. Over time, I noticed that by accepting the present moment, I could respond to situations more effectively and with greater clarity. For years, I believed that happiness and success came from controlling my circumstances. But Tolle's teachings challenge this belief. He explains that the need for control stems from fear, and that true peace comes from surrendering to the flow of life. One of the most transformative moments for me was during a career setback. I had meticulously planned a project, but unforeseen circumstances derailed it. Instead of spiraling into frustration, I chose to surrender to the situation. I asked myself, what can I learn from this? And how can I respond constructively? Letting go of control didn't mean giving up. It meant trusting the process and focusing on what I could influence in the present moment. This mindset shift not only reduced my stress, but also opened me up to new opportunities one hadn't considered before. Tolle teaches that the body is a powerful tool for staying present. By bringing our attention to the sensations in our body, we can ground ourselves in the now and quiet the mind. I began incorporating this practice into my daily life. During moments of anxiety, I would shift my focus to the feeling of my feet on the ground or the rhythm of my breath. This simple act of tuning into my body helped me break free from racing thoughts and reconnect with the present moment. Over time, I noticed a deeper connection with my body. I became more aware of how stress manifested physically and learned to release tension through mindfulness and movement. This practice not only improved my mental clarity, but also enhanced my overall well-being. Tolle's teachings on relationships were especially transformative for me. He explains that many relationships are rooted in ego and expectations, leading to conflict and dissatisfaction. By bringing presence into my interactions, I began to experience deeper and more authentic connections. Instead of reacting defensively during disagreements, I practiced active listening and focused on understanding the other person's perspective. I noticed how often my mind wanted to jump in with judgments or solutions, but by staying present, I could respond with empathy and patience. This shift improved not only my romantic relationship, but also my friendships and professional interactions. Presence allowed me to show up fully for others, creating a space of mutual respect and understanding. At the heart of the power of now is the idea that joy doesn't come from external achievements or possessions, but from simply being. This was perhaps the most challenging yet rewarding lesson for me. I had spent much of my life chasing goals, believing that happiness lay on the other side of success. I began dedicating time each day to simply being. Whether it was sitting quietly in nature, meditating, or enjoying a cup of tea without distractions, these moments brought a profound sense of peace and contentment. I realized that happiness wasn't something to achieve. It was something to experience in the present. This practice of being transformed how I approached life. I no longer felt the need to rush or prove myself. Instead, I embraced each moment as it came, finding beauty and joy in the simplest of experiences. The power of now taught me that the present moment is not just a fleeting point in time. It is the gateway to a deeper, more fulfilling way of living. By letting go of the past, releasing the future, and embracing the now, I discovered a life of clarity, peace, and joy. What about you? How often do you truly live in the present? Remember, the now is all we ever have. Start small, a breath, a moment of stillness, and see where it leads. The power to transform your life is already within you.